The T20 Cricket World Cup will begin play soon, with America co-hosting this prestigious showpiece event alongside the West Indies. That means 16 games are going to be played in New York, Florida, and Texas. It's certainly quite the development for a sport that has long since been dismissed stateside as nothing more than the bastard cousin of baseball. The thing is, the T20 World Cup is only sticking a proverbial toe in the water to check the temperature. Once a 20-over champion of the world is crowned, we then hop into the second season of Major League Cricket in America. This ambitious attempt to establish a domestic league stateside is being backed by some notable millionaires and features rosters with a host of prominent names such as Quinton de Kock, Glen Maxwell, and a personal favorite of mine, Rauf. A few years ago, I would have dismissed this idea for cricket in America as sheer lunacy. Today, though, I think it just might work. Maybe. I'm Cheyenne Hollis. This is The Touchback. Cricket is coming to America, and I think we should give it a shot. I don't think I've actually heard that song, as a song itself. I only remember it from 1980s movies. That aside, for cricket, well, I have a very love-hate relationship with the sport. There are some things I really like, and there are some things I find to be dumber than all hell. I'll watch cricket occasionally. I can see the merits of it. Well, most of the time I can see the merits of it. From an American context, though, there's something we just don't want to embrace when it comes to foreign sports. Maybe it has something to do with all the wrestling heels being from overseas. The Iron Sheik, Ivan Koloff, Nikita Koloff, Mr. Fuji, Bret Hart in 1997, Colonel De Beers. You get the idea here. Realistically speaking, it took us decades to finally embrace soccer. Beyond that, there are plenty of other sports that just aren't ever going to be a thing here, but are popular outside the borders of the US. No disrespect to badminton or handball, but it's just not happening here. Cricket, though? Cricket, I think, has a shot. In order to understand why, let's examine what exactly we here in the States are getting in terms of cricket. There's no desire to bring the entire sport of cricket to America. Instead, the goal is, I guess you could say, to get a foot in the door and see if maybe it can gain some traction. And that foot in the door is in the version of the T20 game. If you are unfamiliar with T20 cricket, it is very much a made-for-TV product. Each side gets 20 overs, which consists of 6 balls, and the entire event normally fits into a nice 2-hour window. There isn't much in the way of downtime in the T20 game when you compare it to ODIs and Test cricket, which do have quite a bit of inaction in them. Additionally, the format itself really lends itself to taking risks, to having these exciting moments. It's also important to understand the structure of T20 leagues. These are not some 5-month slog. In most cases, you're getting roughly a 4 to 6 month sprint of games apart from the Indian Premier League, which now covers 2 months on the calendar. All of these leagues tend to be scheduled throughout the year in different countries, with players filtering in and out. In the Southern Hemisphere, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa all schedule their sort of 1-monthish T20 leagues during their summer months of December, January, and February. Then the action moves to India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh during March, April, and May. That sort of brings us to the Northern Hemisphere summer months, June, July, and August. Obviously, you have a lot of cricket being played in England, but there is room in this portion of the calendar for something else, something different. Enter the United States of America. If cricket can gain some amount of traction here and become viable, it would add an important element to the global cricket yearly calendar. I'm going to pause here for a quick disclaimer. There is a lot of politics and a lot of debate and discussion around the cricket calendar as a whole. Where does county cricket? Where does Test cricket? How can you have so many T20 leagues? It's kind of a jumbled mess right now. The discussion is an important one. I'm not saying that it doesn't need to be had. All I'm saying here is that it's not a conversation that I want to have today in this video. That aside, Major League Cricket here stateside wants to be a 1-month shebang, and it has picked perhaps the best month on the US sporting calendar to do so, July. From a sports standpoint, it's a pretty blah month. You have the MLB going on, of course, but it's around that time of the year where you kind of just wish there was something else happening to break up that monotony. MLS and USL are around, of course. WNBA and NWSL are options. F1, NASCAR, tennis, golf, and there are other things around. none of them are really must-watch or dominating the sporting calendar here. It's not like we're talking about November and December where you're spoilt for choice. There is a lot of room for a sport to come in and carve out a little section of July for itself. Having watched Australia's Big Bash League and other T20 competition, the format and duration are pretty engaging. It's played in a short, tight, compact window. Most of the games have some sort of stakes to them. Everything moves at a very fast clip. And by the time the championship game is played, you're left thinking, that was pretty nice. It doesn't take up this huge section of your life. It's just something that's there. You can drop in and out, and then it's over with. And you're kind of like going, okay, I like that. Boasting a similar format as the Big Bash League or other T20 competitions, I think the structure of Major League Cricket could work in America. That, of course, is only one component of this. We also need to look at the cricket product itself and the financial viability of Major League Cricket. We'll start with the games, though. If you watch 1 or 2 T20 cricket matches, you'll understand the basics of a game pretty quickly. It's not exactly the most difficult or nuanced thing for even the most novice of viewer to pick up. Sure, there are a few areas of difficulty, I guess you could say. Things like LBW and bowler usage that aren't things you just sort of pick up and understand. But by and large, cricket is pretty accessible at the T20 format. Certainly more so than Test cricket, which is complicated and very much an acquired taste. However, you can't just have a bunch of randos in a park playing T20 cricket. You need legitimate star power. Players who transcend someone's knowledge of the sport. A person who's new to the cricket can watch and go like, all right, that guy's got some skills. You don't need to understand basketball to be impressed by LeBron James. Watching Shohei Ohtani speaks for itself even if you don't know the first thing about baseball. Having those type of cricketers playing in America makes it easier for those not necessarily familiar with the sport to buy in. And on that front, I firmly believe Major League Cricket is delivering. There's a lot of top talent from Australia. Glen Maxwell is pretty amazing. Travis Head is fun to watch. You also have notable players from New Zealand, South Africa, and the West Indies. Perhaps the biggest omission in Major League Cricket are those stars from India. Unfortunately, the board for control of cricket in India, a far too complicated and unnecessary name for a governing organization, has prevented its players from participating in foreign T20 leagues. That's a shame because Virat Kohli, Jasprit Bumrah, and even someone like Kuldeep Yadav would be a huge coup for Major League Cricket. You also have a number of cricket-playing Yanks who are, I guess you could say, okay, look, if Major League Cricket was nothing but Americans playing cricket, it would not be a fun watch, but you do have enough international talent in there to make this product far more watchable. And of course, the goal is to raise the standard of American cricket. Having our players playing with and against some of the world's best should improve the domestic game over the long haul. It's always a difficult balancing act. You don't want to just have nothing but foreign players in your league, and Major League Cricket does seem to be walking that fine line that allows enough star players in without totally blocking the pathway for American talent. Long story short, Major League Cricket has done a really good job of assembling rosters who will provide entertainment. If you start watching cricket during the T20 World Cup, the drop-off between that and Major League Cricket won't be as severe or as noticeable as it could have been. Yes, there'll be some drop-off, but not as much as you may think. So how did Major League Cricket come to assemble these really good rosters featuring some outstanding international talent? Well, the reason for that is finances. Major League Cricket has bank. There is a pretty impressive list of investors who've pledged upwards of $1 billion to get the league off the ground. That is billion with a B. Startup leagues notoriously tend to face cash crunches. There's the Alliance of American Football, which lasted 8 weeks or so. You have the roller hockey, the inline hockey league of America in the 1990s. I mean, let's be honest, the country's sporting landscape is full of failed sports leagues that simply didn't have enough money to get off the ground. Simply hoping people buy in over the course of 1 or 2 seasons, it's not enough. Major League Cricket seems to have that runway. They also have a fairly sound strategy as it relates to growth and building this thing up. There isn't a rush to have too many teams, too many players, or too much unstable growth. The league is gradually expanding. Let's gain some exposure. Let's focus on getting some cricket facilities built in America. Hey, by the way, the Oakland Coliseum, it's going to be available starting next year. And you know what? It can actually handle cricket. Just an idea. The most important element currently for Major League Cricket is on fan acquisition. They are putting their best foot forward to show off a product that they hope resonates with some sports fans in America. It's certainly not going to be everyone's cup of tea, nor should that be the goal, but I do believe there are folks out there who will give cricket a shot and be entertained and interested in what they watch play out in front of them. Whether they are folks who grew up with the sport in India, Pakistan, or other parts of the world, or they're just individuals like myself who watch anything sporting related. I'm convinced there are enough individuals in the States to support a solid, entertaining version of Major League Cricket. It won't threaten Major League Baseball, but there's no reason it can't exist in the space between MLS, the WNBA, and Premier Lacrosse League. All cricket in America really needs is time and the chance to grow. Those have been the undoing for countless other leagues over the years, but it doesn't seem as if this is going to be a problem for Major League Cricket. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe America just absolutely refuses to embrace cricket. Maybe MLC folds in the next 4 years. It's certainly a possibility. Then again, I firmly remember being in Sacramento in the mid-2000s, and anytime I tried talking about soccer or mentioning soccer, you'd get the classic, "they should use their hands" line. In fact, the same people who uttered the "they should use their hands" line are now Sac Republic season ticket holders. True story. All I'm saying is there's a chance for cricket to become something in America, and now is the time to find out. Between the T20 World Cup and the second season of MLC, the cricketers are coming, and I'd encourage you to at least give it a shot. You might like what you see. Besides, what else are you really going to watch sports-wise in July? Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to learn more about the American sports team that tried to sell its name and mascot, video upper right hand corner of your screen, and to find out why I believe Australia is the perfect place for a regular season NFL game, video lower right hand corner of your screen. Until next time, I am Cheyenne Hollis. This is The Touchback. Give cricket a chance, and as always, hashtag take it out to the 25.